Moonshadow strummed on his acoustic guitar as the wind howled outside. Keep your distance with a system of a touch and gentle persuasion. I'm lost in admiration. I need you this much. Wasting my time. You're just wasting my time. Luna, drink in hand, sat down next to him on the couch. Shadow, honey, could you sing something else, please? I thought you liked Head Over Heels, he asked. You play it all the time in your car. Well, I do, but... She looked at the glass sliding doors to her backyard and a raging storm outside. For some reason, it just seems wrong. Now wearing a baggy set of sweats and shivering as she drank a cup of coffee, Octavia tried not to look at anything but the mug as she told her aunt all that had happened over the past few weeks. Analysis in my mind, and I'm afraid of what she says and what she'll do, Aunt Velvet, Octavia said, feeling the sting of tears again. I can't take it anymore. Shh, sweetheart. Nothing's going to happen to you, I promise, Velvet insisted, hugging her knees for all it was worth and inwardly cussing herself. How could I have been so fucking blind? I was so focused on other stuff I let Tavi fall apart in front of my eyes. Watching another child of mine get run through the grinder once more. Some parent I am. Nib, please, lock me up or throw me in some institution, Aunt Velvet. She's dangerous. Mentally, he's a monster. Octavia was completely detached from the creature that Nay had explained to Velvet 20 minutes back. She's lusting after Twilight and hates Sunny. She's using my body to do it. The tears came down her face as she said, kill me, whatever it takes to stop her. Tavi, stop that. You know we're not going to do that. We'll get you help, whatever it takes, and we'll do this together, okay? No, she's too dangerous, Octavia moaned. Maybe she is, Velvet said. But if she is, then she hasn't seen what I could do whenever one of my children is threatened. You, dearest niece of mine, are definitely part of that. Velvet reached over and took her niece's hand in hers. I don't care who or what wants to harm any of one of my family, or if anyone even tries, they're going to not like my response. But she'll come back, when I fall asleep or when I'm weak or when... Octavia suddenly felt herself smushed in a hug. She could try, Velvet said in a firm tone, and she'll fail. Meanwhile, Night, what the hell's going on over there? Posey said over the phone. I'm at the hospital right now on standby duty, and I get a call from my daughter saying that all hell's broken loose over there. Posey, relax. It's not quite that, but Fluttershy is exactly wrong. Mine's going into the doctor's confidentiality mode. I'm not gonna like this, am I? Trust me, I'm liking it even less. Seated in his office, Knight did have a conversation of everything his niece had told them, and they interjected with a distance with the other girls. 10 long minutes later, he said, and I'm stuck with all this and have no idea what to do. I can't imagine how Edie and Bowden are reacting right now over in France. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Sorry for coming down hard on you. Anyway, what can I do to help? Do you know anyone who specializes in psychiatry? She might need an evaluation. Velvet's already called Sakura a few minutes ago, but can't get a hold of her. Cora's over here, assisting us with incoming patients. I'll tell her you said hi. So we gotta both get a break. We'll knock our heads together and see what we can come up with you, okay? Thanks, I appreciate it. Hey, I owe you guys. Nothing else for what Sunset did for Flyers and the problem with her father. Trust me, Knight, you have a great daughter here. And once the adoption comes official in 3 weeks, you don't know how blessed you are. It's actually made me and Discord think about looking into adoption as well. I'd be surprised if anyone else who knows you guys isn't either. Hell, I'm probably taking up too much of your time as is, Posey. Thanks for your help. No, I needed to break, even if it's for bad news. I'll call you in a couple of days when this is all over and let you know what we got, okay? Talk to you later. Knight set the phone down in the cradle, took off his glasses and rubbed the bridge of his nose. This felt entirely too much like crushing a new layer on top of everything else he and his family had to deal with in the past year. All 3 of the girls in the house had suffered the worst, and all he could do was pray that it would get easier. But if what he suspected about his niece was true, the chances of that were somewhere between slim and none. It was a few minutes later when he walked to the dining room. The girls, with the exception of Applejack, who had gone back to sleep, and Sunset, who was restricted to her bedroom until she could see a doctor, were swarmed around Octavia. I was eating one of Pinky's special grilled cheese sandwiches. Molly, I'm sorry you had to see that, Octavia said, feeling completely distraught. It wasn't me. It's okay, Bon said in a tone and hint it wasn't, but for sake of the others, she forgive. Besides, it wouldn't be the first time I had someone grunt me. You did that? Rarity gasped. Girls, please, she wasn't in her right mind, Twilight pled. She wouldn't do that normally. I know, Octavia nearly whispered in a shamed, horrified tone. The things she wants to do. I don't know if I'm strong enough to fight it. Bullshit, Rainbow said, slapping her hands on the table. You're my friend, and you aren't this alone, okay? You got me. You got all of us, okay? You aren't alone, Taffy, so don't give me any shit like you are. But Rainbow, what if I'm losing my mind? What if it's not some part of my imagination or I'm going mad? Or worse, what if she's real? I heard how to doubt you have anything to worry about, Octavia, dear, Rarity insisted. That uncouth individual is not the Octavia we all know and love, and I can assure you that Sunset feels the same way. Octavia gasped, and everything she had completely forgotten what she did to Sunset. Turning to her aunt, she asked, Can I go see her? I'm not sure that's a good idea right now. Bossenforth's up there with her at the moment, keeping her company. It may not be the best to hesitate either of them. I see, was all Octavia could say. Oh, come on, guys. We're still stuck here for at least another day, so let's not be so grumpy about it. Pinky sang. Raising her hands, he said, All in favor of having a yay Tommy Day killing one party, raise your hand. Everyone slowly glared at Pinky as he ended with, Okay, maybe not my best idea off the cuff, alright? Yeah, probably should have thought your cutting plan all the way through, Pinks, Lyra laughed. However, maybe we should come up with something to cheer Sunny up, Trixie proposed. She's going to be stuck up there for a few days, and I know I'd go stark crazy if I had to stay in bed for a few days. Everyone preferred that plan instead. You know, you're good at this party playing thing, Pinky said to Trixie. Thanks, but I got my eye on you, Pinky said with sudden seriousness. Trying to steal my job? Minuet rolled her eyes. Yes, because the last thing we need for you around here is for you to go insane, Pinky. Everyone glared at Minuet, who cried, It was a figure of speech, okay? Meanwhile, back with Shiny. In the bedroom he shared with his fiancée, Shiny Armor dressed for the day's trip out. Jeans, a pair of military-style boots he bought once for a paintball game he played with his friends a year back, t-shirt, body armor, and a lower windbreaker that had the FBI blazed on the back. Lastly, he also put on the FBI ball cap, the one given to him by Hardline. With that done, he opened the gun safe, retrieving his pistol, ammo. Today, he'd be wearing a web belt as opposed to a shoulder harness that he had been wearing since he had been on the loan to the feds. The belt had been a gift from Sunset, and though it wasn't exactly uniform regulation, he wore it anyway, as the CPD had been lax about that sort of thing. Looking at his eyes, he thought about calling his parents to see how they were doing, but he was in one of the areas where both the phone and power had been knocked out. Cadence had marshaled all the candles in the apartment and was using that to keep the light going, and ironically seemed to give everything a romantic, intimate feel. But that wasn't something he could afford right now. He had a job to do, and that meant getting out to see what he could do for his fellow citizen. As he walked out of the bedroom, he saw Cadence sitting on the couch reading a book. She looked absolutely beautiful and poised perfection. And part of him longed to forget about the world outside and to remain with his heart's desire. But if he did that, he wanted to be the person that she loved, and his sense of honor and duty was one of the things that made him alluring to her, and that wasn't something he was going to change anytime soon. She looked up from the book, closing it. Do you have to go out? She asked, a tinge of worry in her voice. He nodded. Yeah. My shift doesn't start for another hour, but I figure I better get over this done with. Besides, the radio said there's a good chance there's flooding down at the end of Mulberry Street. So if I don't go now, I could get trapped in the neighborhood for the rest of the storm. Yeah, well, you'd be with me, she said with a smile. That's not so bad, is it? He laughed, a sound that segued the inhalation of a breath he didn't know he was holding. I wish I could, Katie, but there are people out there that need me, and you're safe here. I have to do what's right. So he giggled. I'll just call you big goof. So he said, kissing him on the nose. I'll be here, and when you get back. So, if I'm not, probably because I went to help old Mr. Cumberbund downstairs. I'm not sure he's ready for the storm. Take care of yourself, Katie. He said as he went to the door. You too, my love. She says he wants to step out of the apartment and be pelted by the weather howling outside. As the storm closed, she watched the growing puddle of water that lay on the floor of tiles. She got out of the couch and went to the kitchen to grab some paper towels to clean it up. She had to make sure he would come home to a perfect apartment and a perfect fiancé, right? She went down into the kitchen and saw her cell phone, still attached to its charging cable, sitting as placidly as her pet cat Obsidian did. Obsidian was dozing on their bed. She noticed earlier. Being a cat, he really didn't give much of a care about what was going on outside in the world. Kids envied their pet that, at least, he could skip out on the responsibilities and duties of the world. If only she could live the life of a cat. She thought about picking up the phone and calling Shiny's family to see if they were all right. No doubt Velvet and Knight were going mad with 12 teenage girls having to run the house, but they thought better of it. With the power out, she had to conserve power in case the worst happened. Looking at the clock briefly, and glad it ran off with AA battery, she went out to the bedroom to change clothing. She needed to venture outside of their apartment to check on their car, see if any of her neighbors needed help. As a government official, it was partly her responsibility to do so, as she felt it would be something she should do regardless. Meanwhile, the lights went out for the whole group mid-movie. Oh man, just let us get to the good part, Rainbow groaned. Only you would think that Batman nearly getting killed by Bane would be a good thing, Tracy told her friend. Personally, I've seen the movie enough times to know how it ends by heart. Well, I think we should probably light some candles, girls, Twilight advised. Pinky reached into her pockets and pulled out a bunch of lighters. Go ahead, please, in case of fire emergencies, she told him. I don't even want to know what you're doing with all those lighters, Lyra commented. At that point, Velvet came into the living room, carrying a box of candles. I think you put these to good use, girls. Thanks, Miss Velvet, Rarity said. You're quite welcome. Turning to her daughter, Velvet asked, Twilight, would you be so kind as to check with your sister, dear? I could do that, Mom. Fluttershy, would you come with me? Sure, Twilight, I'd love to. The Chiffon girl said. Both girls headed upstairs towards where Sunset was currently sleeping. Speaking of which, oh god, no, not again! Oh, and my glasses are not helping me. Let's see. It's a letter for Twilight. And she's describing a lot of things. I swear, next time I read a fanfic, the letters better be in print! Sunset grimaced as he got up from the bed and sat down the letter. She then ended the firelight spell she was using for illumination. She had a lot to think about, and now she was going to bring it up to her family. I have to tell them. If nothing else, then she sighed, for my mother's sake. Both of them. She didn't want to admit it, but Twilight was right. Celestia was her mother. The Alcorn had raised her since she was 4, and would come into her life the day Sunset had a surge of magic strong enough to core the orphanage and hit the coach the princess had just exited. The magic blast had instantly turned the expensive, finely crafted coach, as well as 4 other nearby wagons, into a teapot and teacups that still somehow retained the look of their original forms. But that, Celestia told her years later, was what had truly caught her attention. It was that Sunset had tapped into the sun to use her magical source. Unicorns tended to draw for the air, the earth, or even their own natural wellsprings as a power source. But Sunset had tapped into the one thing that only one other pony had ever drawn from. It had been natural that Sunset had become Celestia's daughter. Even when she fought with the princess, it was because she wanted to prove worthy of her mother. She had fallen far from Nan, and had worked her way back up. Now, being adopted by the people she loved, her family, with no question and no argument, she was inadvertently forgetting the family she already had. I have to tell them the truth, Sunset thought to herself, as she felt a crushing weight of shame on her. I have to tell them before they adopt me, even if it costs me that. I love them enough that I should tell them the truth about who and what I am, and about my real mother. Sunset chuckled inwardly. Sunset had only seen the mare that had birthed her, courtesy of Faustus dreamwalking. Given that, she really was just a random mare and nothing in Sunset's life. But it was Celestia, the same biological creature with minor differences. That did mean that Celestia was her biological mother, and Velvet her adopted one. I'll have to ask Mom about that. Even if they mean I owe the princess more than just calling her princess. She's my mother, too. She crawled into bed just as there was a knock on the door. Come in, she said, and with Twilight Fluttershy arrived. We came to see how you were doing, Twilight told her sister. Plus, we have an update on Tavi, Fluttershy said. I could be better, Sunset admitted. I haven't had anything to eat since the power went out, and as good as it was, tomato soup and grilled cheese doesn't make for a great breakfast. Fluttershy nodded. Pinkie wanted to make sure you had home-cooked comfort food. I think she forgot about the time, though. The chiffon-haired girl said as she sat by the desk. Twilight, on the other hand, plopped to the bed next to Sunset. Are you sure you're okay, sis? You look like you were crying. Still in a bit of pain. Sunset lied, feeling guilty the fib rolled off her tongue so easily. I've been taking the Advil like Mom said, so don't worry about that. I guess he's right that I'm probably going to have to go to Dr. Sakura to see me. Well, she can't. I don't think my mom will mind coming to check on you, Fluttershy offered. Besides, I think she and Dr. Sakura are old friends. I don't think it'll be a problem. That would be appreciated, Flutters. Sunset commented before she yawned. Yeah, sorry. I'm still feeling tired all of a sudden. Maybe everything is just catching up to me. Well, maybe you should take a nap when you get up. We can bring you something, okay? Fluttershy said, rising from her seat. Twilight, I'm going to see if the others need help. You should stay here with Sunny and tell her about Tavi. Make sure she gets some sleep, okay? Sure thing, Twilight agreed as Fluttershy bolted out the door. Sorry about that. She's still more than a little freaked out about the whole thing with Tavi. Not that I blame her. I'm still freaked out about it, Twilight said. Truthfully, if it wasn't for the fact that our friends are here, and I have a good host, I'd lock that door right now and stay in here with you until we could get some protection. What happened? Sunset, any traces of exhausted Sunset felt were now immediately past. Twilight, what? I'll tell you later, right now, okay? Right now, I want you to sleep, young girl insisted. Twilight, if it's about our cousin, Mom and Dad have it in hand, Sonny. So, I'm worried about her, I'm more worried about you. She hurt you. Seriously hurt you. And you're bedridden here for the next few days until we can get you to see a doctor. That's not anything minor. For that matter, our friends are worried about you too. She sighed. Please, just for my sake, go to sleep and rest, okay? When you wake up, I'll tell you about what happened to Tavi. Sunset gave her an unsure look. You sure? Yes, I'm sure that I want you to take care of yourself. Twilight looked at her simply right in the eyes. You're my older sister, and I love you dearly, Sonny. I want us to all grow old together and stuff. You can't do that if you're injured, okay? I'll be fine, Twilight. I know, because I'll do whatever it takes to make sure you are. Knowing what she was being, Sunset closed her eyes. I don't know what I'd do without you, sis. She murmured as she cuddled next to the young girl. And I don't know what I'd do without you. Twilight said to herself as she lay there while Sunset drifted to sleep. Once she was sure the older girl was out, she gingerly moved out of Sunset's grasp. Sunset, despite looking model beautiful, had quite a bit of strength on her. She paused long enough to give Sunset a tender kiss on the forehead before she moved the door to open it. Unfortunately, she pulled the door a little too quickly, and a forced breeze scattered a few papers from Sunset's desk to the floor. Guess I should pick that up, Twilight said as she went to grab them. She didn't think much of what she was picking up. Drafts of homework, a form Sunset had to fill out to satisfy the adoption, and a letter for Twilight herself to Sunset. What? Twilight had never written her sister a letter. Sure, she left notes. The ones she left during Sunset's stay in the hospital is one such example. But this was a letter, written on Hello Kitty stationery. Another thing Twilight didn't have. Yet Twilight recognized her handwriting, clear as day as on the paper. Twilight read the paper and was further shocked. What is this? The letter read like a distorted wonderland of psychedelic weirdness. Sure, some parts rang true. Cadence being Celestia's niece for one. But the latter being Sunset's mother? Or that Twilight herself was a modesty Sunset for disregarding said mother? Rainbow accidentally selling Fluttershy to slavery? Horn writing? Star Swirl, Raz, who are they? Minotaurs? Yeah, another the Greek myth and the robots from that shooter we were all playing last week. No idea what the heck is this. Any of this. Confused, Twilight set the letter down on the desk. Part of her wanted to look at Sunset's desk to see if there were any other letters like this, but stopped. Sunset was her sister, so she was entitled to privacy. But even still, this didn't make sense. Did I write the letter under the influence of the vibe? But the vibe didn't cause hallucinations. Besides, Candace was with me when I was under the effects. Maybe I wrote it while suffering the after effects, but I don't have Hello Kitty stationery. She popped to the chair by Sunset's desk, ready to open it, and look within despite what she told herself earlier. She wanted answers. She trusted her sister. Likely, this was something Twilight wrote under the influence, and Sunset was hiding because she was protecting Twilight. But even still, this doesn't make sense. Twilight looked at the candles lighting Sunset's room, especially the large green candle with the green flame. She'd seen a few candles like that. They tended to have copper or some other metal filaments woven into the wick in order to give that effect. Twilight herself had a candle with a purple flame when she was younger. She probably got it from Lyra's mom's shop, Twilight figured, giving the candle no more thought. There was a knock on the door, and Twilight poked her head in. Hey, Twilight, me, Bonnie, and AT and Blossom are about to start a game of Monopoly. Want to join us? Sure, I'll be down in a sec, Twilight replied. How's he doing? Minuet asked. Given that Minuet had admitted that Sunset had been there for a bad time, she was one of the girls that formed a fierce, protective attachment for the flame-haired girl, Twilight. Twilight was proud of that. Her sister had so many friends and had introduced them into her life, because otherwise, Twilight and Octavia would have nothing to do with each other. But Twilight couldn't see that hemorrhagic existence he lived anymore. Time since, Sunset had engineered her own sister. For that, amongst billions of other reasons, Twilight felt lucky she had an older sister like Sunset. But still, the letter. Twilight picked up the letter, folding it, slipping it into her pocket. She looked into her own, then asked Sunset about it later once he had a chance. Sunset would likely be angry that Twilight took the letter, especially if it was for her own good. But Twilight was a scientist, first and foremost. When a question came before a scientist, the answer had to come from natural law itself. Right? Making sure to quietly close the door, Twilight stepped down and headed downstairs. There'd be time for odd questions and answers you probably didn't want, Twilight admitted. But that would be later. Right now, there was a board game downstairs and 3 other people waiting for her. She refused to accept anything other than total victory, because that was just how she rode.